9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is Timeless Elite Wednesdays with Madam Timeless Elite herself, Courtney, your PR princess. She's with you this Wednesday, and we're surfing into beach break in the Windy City. We got a lot of good action happening tonight, and we're on the road to Double or Nothing, but they have to make a pit stop in Chicago. And we are wasting no time. We are kicking off with a tag team match for the first time ever before they have to meet for their anticipated match at Double or Nothing. It will be Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page taking on Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at this because it's like a picture. I guess they're having technical difficulties. But Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page taking on Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. Expect that creep Don Callis to go in there. Yeah, Boza, I was talking about this last week too. It's beach break. They should at least have like a beach theme to go with this. Like if they're gonna keep doing themes, I want to see them embrace the theme. I want to see them really go all the way in this. But of course, we have the tag team match kicking off, which is great. Of course, the main event that we have, it's been going on for weeks. Samoa Joe taking on Jon Moxley for the AEW World title in a steel cage. Expect a lot of chaos, shenanigans, and mayhem going on. We're also going to see my client, the AEW Women's Champion, in a fatal 4-way eliminator match. She would be taking on Mina Shirakawa. Skye Blue returning after a gruesome injury she suffered a couple months ago. And the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, AZM. And I'm going to tell you something. Expect that to be chaos. Expect a lot of chaos. You're going to get a lot of mayhem. Because if you saw New Japan Resurgence, you kind of know what happened. And also, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a ghost. Zach Gowen is back in the ring. If you saw Collision this past weekend, Ricochet was taunting him and took his prosthetic leg. They will be going one-on-one tonight. We're also gonna hear from the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, where he will give his answer regarding MJF, if he's going to join or not. And also, I found out before I was getting on the air, we're going to hear from Nigel McGuinness after the confrontation from FTR this past week. We're going to hear what Nigel has to say. We're going to hear him. And Nigel's no slouch, but I'm very curious on the words he's going to say tonight on Dynamite. All this and more, the 2 hours, you get to hang with me. And also, look at that. I'm looking at the interaction between Hangman and Will Ospreay. Of course, Hangman was, of course, with the kids. Little fact there, if you did not know, he was a teacher. He was a teacher in Virginia before he got into wrestling. So you can tell he has a very deep relationship with kids. And of course, he has kids of his own. And I like that. Even though Heyman can be a little crazy, but he has a soft spot. Yeah, both you saw it on our if you watched WWT live, our watch along today. Said actually watched along earlier today because apparently he wants to have a word with Mr. Tanahashi. Leave Tanahashi alone. But we shall see. And yeah, we have that creep down Cal's coming in. Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. But also, just to let you know, I am pulling a double duty because tonight is the NFL release schedule tonight on NFL Network. I'm pretty sure Tony Khan will be looking at this very closely since he works with the Jacksonville Jaguars as the Chief Football Strategy Officer. I will be looking at this with the Miami Dolphins to see their full schedule. So I'm going to be pulling up a double duty, but here we go. And this is kind of the way to start off Beach Break. You got to kick it off. And we're going to see if Hangman and Will Ospreay can coexist right before their match. Of course, the Don Callis family has been under their skin, but We shall see. Oh yeah, I got to deal with this creep Don Callis, and I see Ian Riccaboni on commentary tonight. So it looks like it's going to be Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita, two people that know each other very, very well. And they had a really good classic last year at Revolution. It was fun. Oh, so we have Excalibur and Taz on commentary. So that's pretty much good as well. And also, you watched on WWT Live on Monday, AEW did a crossover with Family Guy, and Excalibur guest starred on it. So always good to see the brand crossing over to a lot of things. Congratulations to Excalibur. Appreciate him on that. But here we go. Tag team action. Ooh, nice aerial offense between Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita. And these two know each other very, very well. I will tell you, Will Ospreay's on the roll. Last week was his birthday. Him and the missus went to Greece a few days ago, and he has a big match ahead of him where it's a possibility he could be wrestling at All In Texas. He's on the top of the world right now, Will Ospreay. And he also recently interviewed on Chris Van Vliet a couple weeks ago. But here we go. It's going to be Will Ospreay and Josh Alexander. Okay, they didn't release a schedule. Yeah, I'm going back and forth between this and NFL Network. They have not released a schedule yet, but as we know, if you're hanging out with me, the Timeless Elite is with you, your PR princess, and what a way to kick off Beach Break in the Windy City. Tag team action. Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page taking on the Don Callis families, Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita. And then, of course, you have that creep Don Callis on commentary, but who cares about him? But nice offense nice actually synergy tag team from Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita. I do see them somewhere down the line getting tag team title opportunities, whether it be like Takeshita or Josh Alexander, or maybe Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita, but it looks like they're playing a lot of mind games. Hangman's trying to get the ref's attention, but this is what the Don Callis family does. This is what they do. Of course, Boza, I'm very happy to give you guys coverage for AEW because, somebody has to take the keys. I remember when I first joined the WWT, Boss Lady asked me, did I want to do watch-alongs for AEW? And I said, why not? And I know a lot of times we do give constructive criticism, including me to AEW, but I want them to be better. I really want them to be the second best wrestling brand on the planet. That's what I want. I want them to succeed because we know WWE is going to be number one regardless of everything. But I want at least AEW to be that strong number two. It's just, of course, during the 5 years, 6 years, they had many hard lessons they had to learn because, yes, they did let go of some talent and working out a few bugs, but they'll get there. Ooh, nice move by Hangman Adam Page, taking out Josh Alexander. And he wants to end this match early. Nice counter by Hangman. Ooh, nice moonsault. And he landed on his feet. I think this is one of the first few times well, I may have to go back, but this is one of the few times we get to see Hangman against Takeshita. Hangman wants to end this early, but nice counter by Takeshita. Ooh, nice powerbomb by Hangman. Kick out by Takeshita. This is going to be the $1 million question. Can they coexist with each other right before their match at Double or Nothing? That's going to be the key part. Well, Ospreay, he wants to tag, and here's the tag. Nice teamwork, taking out Takeshita. Synergy is there. Kick out by Takeshita. And the tag is made to Hangman. And as they know it, Double or Nothing. This is actually going to be interesting because this can go 50-50. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's going to win at Double or Nothing between Hangman and Will Ospreay, because this can go either way. And I don't know why, but it's like there's a lot of shenanigans that could happen and seeing that. But, and I have to say, I'm very. Oh, hold on. Oh, wow. Nice aerial offense by Takeshita. I will say, Josh Alexander and Takeshita work good as a tag team. Work very well as a tag team. Oh, yeah, and I know that Creep is happy that he's smiling, Mr. Don Callis, but if you're joining, this is Timeless Elite Wednesdays with yours truly, because we're surfing into beach break. And also, I am keeping score because the NFL schedule is happening right now, and I'm pretty sure Ced is watching this wherever he is. Week 17, Christmas Day, his Commanders will be taking on the Cowboys, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Netflix. I'm pretty sure Ced is watching this right now, but always good to play on Christmas. Not that bad. So, yeah, so we do have that. Commanders, Cowboys, Christmas Day, 1 p.m. on Netflix. And also, if you're joining with me on AEW Dynamite, kicking off with a really energized tag team match. Hangman Adam Page, Will Ospreay taking on Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. And then, of course, you have that creep Don Callis at ringside doing commentary. But this has been a very good, solid match. Like the stare down between Josh Alexander and Hangman. I am watching this on picture-in-picture. Even though it's on picture-in-picture, the match is still going live. So I get to see at least a little bit of the match. And it looks like it's been mostly Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita have been going at it. Yeah, I will say this, because even though I call Don Callis a creep, I feel like he's done a good job with the Don Callis family. Because I feel like out of all the heel stables, this is probably the one I would fear the most, especially with Don Callis, because you don't know what to expect from him. You don't know what to expect, but he has been doing a good solid job. Yeah, Amantu, it's happening. I'm keeping up. This match is in picture, but also I am keeping up with the schedule because I definitely want to see the Dolphins. Yes, he is. He's doing a great job as a mouthpiece. Nah, it doesn't phase me. He's just doing what he does best, Boza. And yes, 3 games on Christmas Day. 3 games on Christmas Day. Broncos and the Chiefs. Christmas Day, 8:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime. And as Boza mentioned, there is a game on Christmas at 4:30. It's going to be very interesting for the NFL season. And we are back live for AEW Dynamite. Timeless Elite Wednesday. If you're joining me right now, we have a very energized tag team match. Josh Alexander, Konosuke Takeshita taking on Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page. Kick out by Hangman Adam Page. Will Ospreay just wants to tag. Will Ospreay throwing some offense against Josh Alexander. Nice counter by Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay and Hangman are staring at each other. But the thing is, they have a common enemy with the Don Callis family. And what are they going to do here? I guess it's double moonsaults. Oh my god. I thought him and Kenny Omega were crazy when they did those moonsaults. Oh my god. Yep, well, Ospreay, that was 2. You gotta keep your cool, man. Well, Ospreay does have a competitive spirit. Well, Ospreay and Josh Alexander just taking the blows with each other. Is that it? 1, 2. Kick out by Ospreay. Wow. Hi, Aaron Teagle. Thank you for joining on this watch along. I know, right? I'm not surprised. He really wants to turn on him. But it's hard because they both have a common enemy with the Don Callis family. So they just released the games for Thanksgiving. Oh, nice double team by Takeshita and Josh Alexander. I will give NFL updates after this match, because this is actually a really good match. Double German suplex on the Will Ospreay. Oof. Double team. Pick up by Ospreay. Nice move by Will Ospreay. Is this it? Kick out by Josh Alexander. Ospreay, but the tag made to Hangman out of face. Just when Will Ospreay was getting ready to. Little miscommunication right there. Kind of knew this was going to happen. So Will Ospreay took out. Ooh, I thought it was but it looks like there's miscommunication. It's like you're going to get the Don Callis family the win. Will Ospreay almost took the blade out on Hangman, but you see the deranged face on Hangman's face? And this is the advantage for Takeshita and Josh Alexander, because they're both not coexisting right now. This is where you need to get them. Let's see what they're going to do here. Double buckshot. And your winners, Will Ospreay, Hangman Adam Page. But after this, they're going to be on opposite ends for Double or Nothing. And I'm excited. This is going to be a good match. I just don't know who is going to win, but we shall see. We shall see. I know, right? But we do see the picture, and oh, Takeshita. Takeshita and Josh Alexander. They're just putting a beating on Will Ospreay. Putting a beating on him. Oh, yeah, and here comes that creep dog Callis. He's just enjoying every single minute of this. And they're beating him up because they want to make sure that he's not 100% by Double or Nothing. But Will Ospreay, he's fighting back. Oh, oh my God! Will Ospreay accidentally punched Hangman out of Page, and now Hangman's going back to his hothead days, and now these two are gonna go at it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, exactly. It's like a consolation prize because it's like, ugh. Duck out. Oh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, it looks like, well, Ospreay's busted in the nose. Got a bloody nose. Ooh. But Double or Nothing. 1 week from Sunday on pay-per-view. Those two will go at it. I don't even know who's going to win at this point because this is 50-50. But also confirming, because I know some people are going to forget, I will be doing a watch-along for Double or Nothing. I will be doing a watch. And they're getting anticipated for the main event. Samoa Joe, Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title in a steel cage. And I think after this match, it'll give a clear idea on what matches we can expect for Double or Nothing, especially if they're going to do Anarchy in the arena. We'll probably have a bigger idea. Of course. It always happens, Boza. I mean, they have tech issues. They're on live TV. Stuff happens, but I'm happy there was like a segue in there. So hopefully after this, we get to see Alicia. And curious on who she's going to interview. I think this is the match that everybody wants to see. They want to see Samoa Joe be champion. But you got to expect, even though they're in a steel cage, there could be a lot of shenanigans. And also, I want to address something that happened on Collision. So if you guys watch Collision this past weekend, you saw Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale. Wonderful match by those two ladies. They delivered it. They had good chemistry. But that little runt Wheeler Yuta came in and Marina Shafir screwed Willow Nightingale. And yes, Chris Statlander got the win. I just want Willow Nightingale to give a powerbomb. And Alicia is with Top Flight and Layla Gray. And let's see what they have to say after last week's ambush. Ooh, Dante, you showing some fire. Ooh, and there's Sammy Guevara and Dustin, the reigning Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. I just love Dustin. So it looks like not only the AEW Tag Team Champions, but the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions will be watching. They will be watching, but we got our second match. I'm curious who you can't stand. I hope it's not Alicia or Layla Gray. Because I'm like, what do you got against Alicia? But Top Flight, I mean, and it's nice that I would love to see Top Flight get a shot at those titles. It's been a while since they do that. But we got our second match, and we got that annoying, bald-headed nerd Ricochet. He's going up against Zach Gowen. This is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. You're not seeing a ghost. And he was at Collision this past weekend. Oh, looky. Our producer from the future is back on my Timeless Elite Wednesdays. Wait, you can't stand Layla? What? Why, Amatu-san? I'm curious. What do you have against Layla Gray? Because I actually do like her. I hope it's not Layla. Shout out to our producer from the future that is here on my watch along. For joining with me, we kicked off with the energized and high-flying tag team match between Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay taking on Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita. And we got our second match. Ricochet taking on Zach Gowen. I can't believe it. And we see Ricochet took his prosthetic leg. But it's just so nice to see Zach Gowen. So nice to see him. Yes, Boza, it's been 20 years since I've last seen Zach Gowen. He had a cup of coffee with WWE in 2003. He was in TNA in 2005. Yes, you are right, Boza. And also, not recently, but this was like a couple years ago. And it looks like it has to be his children at ringside because they want to see their dad. But also, a couple years ago, he actually did an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and I didn't listen to it, but for some odd reason, I would definitely recommend checking out his interview he did with Chris Van Vliet a couple years ago, where he did open up not just the wrestling part, but he was struggling a bit with, I think it was like drug addiction for a bit, but now he's doing very well. Still wrestling, being a motivational speaker to kids all around the world. He's doing very good for himself. So I am happy to see him back in the ring. Dynamite about to Dylan, not with the leg jokes. She doesn't do it for me. Oh, I know, Matsu-san. I know it's about Layla Gray. I mean, a lot of people don't like it, but I do think Layla Gray has potential. Just have to be patient about it. But here we go. Ricochet. I will say this. It is a treat seeing Ricochet be this annoying little heel. I will say I do like it, the character development. Exactly. Oh my God, Dylan is tan. Well, I will say it's nice to see Ricochet have some character development in his heel. I will say that. It's refreshing. But he looks like he's taunting Zach Gowen. But don't underestimate the one-legged man. Because I'll never forget the match that he won. I don't know why everybody's orange. I don't. Zach Gowen. She's Ricochet at the ring. I guess those are his children at ringside. Oh, nice move by Zach Gowen. See? I'll never forget the first time I saw him on TV. His match where he teamed up with Stephanie McMahon to take on the Big Show. And that was when he got a contract. And then, of course, he faced off against Vince McMahon. He faced off against Matt Hardy. He does show a lot of inspiration. And I'm going to say this. With him, anything is possible. I don't want to hear anybody making up excuses. If Zach Gowen can wrestle one leg, anything is possible. And don't tell me that you're saying you can't do it. That's my PSA. Hi, Eddie Foster. Thank you for joining on Timeless Elite Wednesdays with me. If you're with me tonight, we have our second match, Ricochet taking on Zach Gowen. You probably heard the name Zach Gowen. Oh my God. Well, he does kind of look like Drake Maverick a bit. I think it's the hair. But anyways, not only. Well, you know, it's the same thing, Boza. It's the same thing. I would say anything is possible. Anything is possible. But I will say this, not only is AEW Dynamite tonight, it's also the release of the 2025 NFL schedule if you are a football fan. So I am pulling off a double duty. And just to let you know, the Dolphins actually just released their schedule. So, let me see. Because I just saw it pop up on socials. So, Dolphins 2025 schedule. Week 1, September 7th, we face off against the Indianapolis Colts, where we're away from home. Week 2, we face off against the Patriots in our home opener. Week 3, we play Thursday Night Football against, surprise, surprise, the Buffalo Bills. Week 4, September 29th, we play on Monday Night Football against the New York Jets. Interesting enough, week 5, we play Carolina. Week 6, we play the Chargers. Week 7, the Browns. Week 8, the Atlanta Falcons. Week 9, Thursday Night Football against the Ravens the day before Halloween. Week 10, we face off against Buffalo again, this time at home. Week 11, and if you watch WWT Live, you know Ced is a fan of the Commanders, and I will be facing off against his Commanders for the first time in Spain. Week 12, we have a bye week. Week 13, we play the Saints. Week 14, we play the Jets again. Week 15, we're on Monday Night Football, and I'm facing off against my sister Honey's Pittsburgh Steelers team on Monday night. We play on Sunday night against the Cincinnati Bengals, week 17 against Tampa Bay, and we end the season with the New England Patriots. So that's our 2025 schedule. And I'm not mad about that. Oh, thank you, Bosa. So breaking news. Fightful reported 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time that Willow Nightingale re-signed with AEW. AEW sources noted that she's very happy. Yay! I can't believe it! It's actually my first breaking news I ever got on my watch along. Yay! I'm so happy. Breaking news, folks. I'm going to send this over to the WWE chat. I can't believe it. That's the first time I ever heard about this. Thank you, Boza, for that. And we're also back live on AEW Dynamite. We get to see Ricochet take on Zach Gowen. See, Ricochet, don't underestimate Zach Gowen. But yeah, breaking news, folks. Well, Dylan, I don't know about that because I know you're a Pats fan. No win is an easy win, and I do believe the Patriots got some tricks up their sleeve. Yep, it is. That's my first one. Well, Dylan, to be fair, because I know you have not been around for my watch along. Oh, Ricochet has those scissors. See, it's a shame my clients see Acclaim split because they need to have a word with him regarding the scissors. That's their shtick. Ricochet doesn't need to. I mean, the scissors work for him, but does it have to be scissors? It's a good thing they were not pink scissors. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Dylan, but your health comes first. Mister. And you have to make sure to take care of yourself. So it's not on you, but you have to make sure your health is your priority. And your winner of this match is Ricochet. I will say it was nice to see Zach Gowen in his match. It was really nice to see him back. I'm very, very happy to see him back in the ring. I wouldn't mind seeing him back on AEW television again. I really wouldn't mind. It's always good to see him on TV. But yes. And of course, Ricochet had to put a beating in. I'm just a mess. Okay, Dylan. I mean, I'm not going to say it on here because I don't want us to get us kicked off on YouTube. But if you've been watching WWT Live, you know. And what's he doing? Kick back down into the head. Oh, and here comes Mark Briscoe. I love Mark Briscoe. I love Mark. He's so great. Mark Briscoe is always all heart. That's what I love about him. I'm pretty sure, not tonight, but I'm pretty sure this weekend or next week we'll probably see Mark Briscoe and Ricochet go one-on-one. But so far, so good. Beach Break has been solid. I hope it's not the last time we see Zach Allen, because I like that he's back on TV. Oh, and Renee Paquette, and she has MJF. So let's hear what MJF has to say to Miss Renee Paquette. And of course, MJF brings up how many days he signed with. Days he was AEW World Heavyweight Champion. So, of course, they're talking about this before he gets the answer in. Renee asked a question, and he deferred. And here's MVP. Oh, MVP made the call. It looks like the Hurt Syndicate have a match, the AEW Tag Team Champions. So after their match, they expect MJF to be in the ring. Curious who they're going to face off against. But it's no time. Hi, Chris Galos. Thank you for joining on my watch along. Sounds like if Max wants to join the syndicate, they have to be. Yeah, I guess they wasted no time. Did they say the match was for the AEW World Tag Team titles? Okay, thank you both. I was going to say, I was like, I hope it's not for the titles. But I will say, everybody's saying We Hurt People. It is really getting over with the fans. Hi, Super Crunk Skunk. Thank you for joining on my Timeless Elite Wednesdays with yours truly, your PR princess, your Timeless Elite, whatever you want to call me, Courtney Rice, with you tonight. Double duty tonight, because not only we have AEW Dynamite, we also have the release of the NFL 2025 schedule happening right now. I'm very happy that the Dolphins got their schedule. I'm pretty sure Ced and Honey are checking this out. But yeah, we got our schedules, and it looks like I'm facing off against the Mares Commanders in Spain, and I'll be facing off against Honey's Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. So Dylan, since you have not watched AEW in a month, technically the Hurt Syndicate was supposed to be heel. They were supposed to be a heel team when they first started, but for some odd reason, they just gotten so over with the fans. It's like insanity. When I was at AEW Dynasty, they were chanting, "We hurt people." Like, since they've been champions, they've been chanting everywhere, "We hurt people." But for some odd reason, even though they're getting over with the fans, I still see them as heels. But Top Flight, they want to step up to the plate against the Hurt Syndicate. Yes, Dylan, Layla's on your TV. It's not a ghost. But I will say, Top Flight is showing some offense, and there are no slashers in that tag team division because they've been around the block. Hello, thank you for joining on this watch along for AEW Dynamite. If you're joining, the Hurt Syndicate is going against Top Flight, a tag team that's been around since the beginning of AEW. These guys are no slouches. They've been around the block. Don't let the looks fool you, but they're known for their high-flying aerial offense. And then after this match, the Hurt Syndicate wants MVP to come down to the ring. Only reason I ask because Bobby slaps at least 3. Yeah, Dylan, thank you for pointing that out. But for some odd reason, they're supposed to be heels, even though they've gotten over with the fans. But I do see them as being a heel tag team. It's just figuring out who's going to be that strong babyface tag team, because I thought at least the Outrunners were going to do it. I don't want to pull the trigger on FTR just yet, because FTR just turned heel and you don't want to pull that trigger yet. Plus, we haven't heard from Private Party. That's the power of Bobby Lashley. See, Amantu. All you have to do is just give one chance. Just give one chance and see how it goes. It's hard to believe both Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are around in their 50s and they still look like this and can move in the ring. That is nuts. And also being dads. That is crazy. But that's what happens when you take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, of your body, not just mentally, but not just physically, but mentally. And I think because the people love Shelton Benjamin so much, they respect him so much as an athlete. If you followed his wrestling career when he first came to WWE up until now, a lot of respect for Shelton Benjamin. Layla Gray's trying to cheer on Top Flight. Yes, Dylan, shout out to Layla Gray's husband. She is officially married, folks. And the pictures came out beautiful from her socials. And look at MVP. I knew MVP. MVP just gloating of it all. I think MVP was checking out Layla Gray. I mean, I'm just saying. Spear. See, I have nothing against the spear of Bobby Lashley. Bobby needs to put, I know he needs to put in another move. That's not the spear. He's a big guy. Ooh. That has to be it. The minute Bobby puts that submission move in, that is over. That is done. Exactly, Dylan. Oh, trust me, Shelton Benjamin gets a lot of respect. Bobby Lashley, I mean, MVP trying to make him go. Oh boy. And then trying to interview the ref. I'm like, okay, the match is over. Let go of Dante. And here is Sammy Guevara and Dustin. I love Dustin. Dustin. I can see Dustin and Sammy going at it. So it looks like they're trying to combine the Ring of Honor tag team titles and the AEW titles. And look who comes out. Lio Rush and Action Andretti. Let's see what they have to say. I know he did not call Dustin Rhodes Gramps. Did he have to say Dakota? Oh my god. Disrespect calling Dustin Gramps. Part of me wishes my clients the Acclaim did not get split up, but I understand why. Dustin! Oh, I just love it. Oh. So it's official, folks. Saturday on Collision, it will be Dustin and Sammy taking on Action Andretti and Lio Rush this Saturday on Collision. Winner of that match will face off against the tag team champions at Double or Nothing. So MJF is planning to come out next. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes, Rosa, thank you. Anna J versus Megan Bain. Oh, yes, Steve Mongo McMichael, who passed away last week. Really awesome that they're doing a tribute to him. Well, Bozo, hopefully they have a plan in place for Double or Nothing, because I feel like after the steel cage match, I feel like we're going to get a clear viewpoint on what's going to happen at Double or Nothing after tonight, and also with Collision this weekend. Also remember, because earlier we're going to hear from Nigel McGuinness. Unfortunately, after FTR provoked him this past weekend on Collision, we are going to hear from Mr. Nigel McGuinness. I'm pretty sure he's going to... Yeah, I know, exactly. Well, I'm just trying to follow everything in the chat. Thank you for pointing that out, Dylan. I was very surprised. I thought at least they would do a tribute to Sabu earlier in the show. And also with the fact Taz is there. That's really interesting. Because I thought at least like it would be respectable in the entire wrestling world. But I guess I just hope it's not a conflict of interest, because I would think at least if it's a wrestler that's been well known, all wrestling promotions should at least be respectful. If they don't do a tribute to him on TNA tomorrow, what are we doing? And also with SmackDown too. I know Raw they did a tribute for it. I'm curious if TNA is going to do one tomorrow and SmackDown. But yeah, that's really odd that Dynamite didn't do one, because I would thought at least Taz would do something. But I think most of the footage from Sabu, even though it is from ECW, it's possibly under WWE copyright. So that could be a thing too. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them would have done something. But don't be shocked if TNA doesn't do a tribute tomorrow. But thank you for putting that, Dylan, and thank you. I know, right? It is crazy. It is crazy. It has been a fun one, Bosa, I will say. And you know, it's funny. The weeks that Dylan was not on the watch along, the women's matches have been either on the main event or kicked off the show. That is crazy. And I mean, I wouldn't mind for it to go right before 9:30, because they've been doing a good job but not putting it at 9:30. But it would be nice if they would have put it like as a second match, and maybe put Ricochet and Zach Gowen at 9:30. Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't like to give myself credit, Dylan, but I'm just saying. But we are back live with Beach Break in Chicago, Illinois. The Hurt Syndicate called out MJF. And we're going to see his answer. We'll see what he has to say. Because I'm very, very curious on how this is going to go. I don't know about that. God, I hope not. It's not 9:30. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea if they did an all-women's pay-per-view, AEW. See? If it does, if that idea does happen, myself and Dylan will be the first one to pitch. Where is Shelton going? Where's he running to? Hold on, wait a minute. What? Where's Toni? Oh. Tony Khan! I was playing my games, and there is Tony Khan with his lovable, nerdy self. I can't believe he was hiding behind Tony Khan. And he called Tony Khan a narc. This is like a weird... I know, right? Well, MJF does... This is like the first time I've ever seen him this scared. One of the first 3 times I've seen him scared. But MJF's coming down to the ring. And the fans are chanting, "We hurt people." Let's hear what MJF has to say. I'm pretty sure MJF is ready. Obviously, MVP would give thumbs up. Oh, thumbs up for Shelton. Impressive. MJF looks very scared. He looks very nervous and scared. That would be funny if you gave him a thumbs down. Is he? Uh-oh. Is he really going to give him the thumbs down? Oh! Bobby Lashley gave a thumbs up. He gave him all 3 thumbs. Oh my god. Well, this is a good from a business standpoint for MVP. So next week they're doing a official contract signing for the Hurt Syndicate next week. Why do I feel like I smell something that's about to brew? I feel like something is about to brew. Dylan, Dante Martin died 10 minutes ago. Dylan, this is why he's our producer from the future. Yeah, Boza, I think it's too easy. I feel like I smell something that's about to brew. I smell it. For some odd reason, I smell it. But MJF got all 3 thumbs up for the Hurt Syndicate. But like I said, there is going to be more to this next week on Dynamite. If you notice, regarding the tag team title division this weekend on Collision, it will be Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, the Ring of Honor tag team champions, taking on Lio Rush and Action Andretti. The winner of that match will face off against the Hurt Syndicate at Double or Nothing. We still have that fatal 4-way. Yeah, well, T better not harass Tanahashi. And also, Boza, don't forget, we also are going to hear from Nigel McGuinness. We will hear from him after what happened this past weekend. We will hear from Mr. Nigel. And I'm very curious on what he has to say regarding what happened with FTR. But this has been a fun watch along for AEW Dynamite. Oh yeah, I forgot about Nigel. That was an easy thing because that was something. Yep, exactly. That was added right before I came on. But yes, we're gonna hear from Nigel McGuinness. But I can't believe it. It's 9 o'clock. And there was a lot of action we covered on tonight's Dynamite. But I want to thank you all for joining on this watch along with me, Timeless Elite Wednesday. It has been very, very fun. And also happening right now is the NFL schedule for the 2025 season. It's happening right now. I did get my schedule for the Dolphins. And I did go over my schedule a bit. I did see Ced took a jab at my team, the Dolphins, because we play the Commanders for the first time in Spain. What was I gonna say? Yes, we face off against the mayor because if you saw WWT live, he took a shot at my Dolphins because we play for the first time ever in Spain. And I face off against Honey's team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, on Monday Night Football. Oh boy, there's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of chaos, a lot of mayhem. Chris Kelly, EOS, elaborate with me on this one because I'm trying to think which podcast, because I know I do, because this is one of the only podcasts I do WWT live. But also make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling because yours truly is also helping out on the commentary side, and also with the fact she will be on their weekly show, which is actually on Wednesdays. And it's right before my watch along for Dynamite, but I will share more of that on Friday during WWT Live. So you have it on your calendar. I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of. Not for Char C. Not that I'm aware of. Oh! Stop what you're doing. And it's 9:08. And we're having a women's match. Not at 9:30. And here comes my client, the reigning AEW Women's Champion, the woman that got me into AEW, Toni Storm. And she's a fighting champion, I might add. And it's not even 9:30 yet. See? The last couple weeks. And you know, it's funny, the last couple weeks, it has not been on 9:30. It's been either on Kicked Off the Show, it was a second match, or even on the main event. So well, the only reason they're making up for it is because of they didn't have the main event at Resolution. Dylan, come on, look, I know you're Australia, man, but that's my client, damn it. That's my client. Okay, yes, she may be from New Zealand. I know you don't consider it to be Aussie, but it's still a part of it. Just give it some slack. All right, guys, and we're going to have our New Japan Strong Women's Champion, AZM, where she pinned Mina Shirakawa to win that title last week at New Japan Resurgence. That's why Mare was so in a fit, because unfortunately, and then, you know, the interesting part about it is she was not the one pinned. She was not the one pinned, by the way. She pinned Mina. And also, it's triple threat rules. So the champion does not have to be pinned. And technically, she's still undefeated. I'm just saying. Okay, Dylan, as what you said, you lived in Australia longer than I have. So I'm not going to argue with our producer over that. I just think you have a soft spot for Toni Storm. That's what I think. And here comes the newest signee of AEW, Mina Shirakawa. Here she is. I do like her hair dolled up as a Toni Storm and these two actually met last year at Forbidden Door, which I will say that was a really good match, by the way. Really met at Forbidden Door. And I saw Toni bopping her head to Mina Shirakawa's music. First, it was Jamie Hager's music. She was enjoying. My other client, Jamie Hager. Then now she's doing this. And here she is. The return of Chicago's own Skye Blue. It is so happy to see her back after a gruesome couple months after that nasty injury she received. Yep, July 2024 last year, where she faced off against Thunder Rosa on Collision, and she hurt her ankle. This also marks the official AEW. Oh, nice. Thank you, Boza, for that. And yes, make sure to check out Denise's interview. She does put out really good interviews. She did an interview not just with Mina, she also did an interview with Mercedes Moné. So feel free to check it out. Okay, as you say, you had to take a pun, but all right. I'm not going to argue with our producer for the future because he may kick me out. So, hi, Bobby. Thank you for joining on our watch along tonight. And if you're joining us, we have our women's match, and it's not even 9:30. My client, the AEW Women's Champion, Toni Storm, taking on Mina Shirakawa, the new New Japan Strong Women's Champion, AZM, and the returning Skye Blue. Just remember, this fatal four-way has no disqualifications. No disqualifications whatsoever. So, this is going to add a lot of chaos to this. And I expect a Mercedes sighting, especially with the fact that her and Mina got into it last week, and Mina chased her out. And I'm sure we'll see a little bit of appearance of my other client, Jamie Hager. Mercedes told Denise what made me laugh was that she thinks she's Bosa, we shall see. See, here's the thing, because Seth thinks he's slick because he wants to talk about his client, because he thinks it's an easy pass at Double or Nothing. No. You're not going to get away with this, because Jamie Hager is no joke. And I actually started learning a lot about her from being in the UK, being at the wrestling promotions. And you know what? She may not have the equal amount of star power Miss CEO has, but she has grit. She's a former AEW Women's Champion, and she is one of the top ladies in AEW. She may not be on the same status as Mercedes, but you know what? I'm still supporting Jamie, because people don't know this. Jamie and Toni Storm have an unorthodox storyline with each other. And look at this stare down. Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. As you know, last year they had a match at Forbidden Door. They also teamed up against one another last fall when after Toni Storm lost the AEW Women's title. She was traveling in Mexico. She traveled in Japan, where she teamed up with Mina Shirakawa. And also, I saw a little spider that came in on AEW, because it looks like we got somebody else added to the women's division. And they're taking shots at each other. Oh yeah, Bobby, I do believe Harley Cameron. Her time is coming. Harley Cameron. I believe it. And she's helping out her friend Anna Jay. Because her and Anna Jay got some issues with Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. Dylan, a real Australian Harley Cameron. Yes, I can't disagree. I can't disagree with him. I can't disagree with him. But just so you know, this fatal 4-way, it's no disqualifications. You can tell there's going to be a lot of mayhem in this match. Be sure to expect Miss CEO to appear, because I'm pretty sure she is probably throwing a hissy fit, especially with the fact that she has not lost a match and she's still undefeated. I don't know why Marisota fit. She's undefeated. She hasn't lost. She hasn't lost yet. Hi, Hassan Terrell. Thank you for joining on this watch along tonight for AEW Dynamite. Fun fact, Harley Cameron's ex Sonic Wayne used to... Oh, nice! Thank you for putting that fact in, Dylan. And here's him with Skye Blue. Nice crossbody for her first return match back. Also, I do have a story. I actually do have a story I want to share about Skye Blue. But so happy to see her back. So this match is in picture-in-picture, but the match is still going on. So I have a quick story I wanted to share about Skye Blue. This is when me and Honey went to Queen of the Ring in March in New York City. And Skye Blue was there. So I had the chance to chat with her for a bit and check in to see how her injury's doing and everything else. And at that time, she was good to go, but unsure if not good to go. And me and her did chat for a bit, and I did ask her about Kyle, because this was right before Revolution, and her boyfriend Kyle Fletcher was facing off against Will Ospreay. And I asked her, do you think Kyle's going to beat Will Ospreay? And she said, with no hesitation, yes. So me and her did start talking. And also I did bring up, because this was like a year or two ago when Skye Blue was having a match at Ring of Honor. Unfortunately, there were some people in the stands that said a lot of bigoted and sexist slurs towards her. Aubrey Graham and Saraya were nearby, and that really kind of pissed her off. So I did feel bad for her, and we did chat about this, but she was very sweet after that, and I gave her a hug, and we went on our way. So I was very happy to have an interaction with Skye Blue, even if it was 5-10 minutes. She was definitely good, and she does have potential, and I did see it in her, because she was actually one of the few, next to Toni Storm, she was one of the first few ladies that caught my eye in AEW. So she's definitely doing something right. But anyways, I'm happy this match is still going live, even though it's in picture-in-picture. I don't know who's going to take the pin. I don't know. Oh, that's nice, Hassan. I'm really happy your niece. Well, happy early birthday to you. Your niece is coming up in 2 days. And I hope she does have a nice birthday. But I just want to say thank you for joining with me on Timeless Elite Wednesdays. If you're just tuning in, we have our women's match. It's not even 9:30 yet. And they're just like doing the women's match right away, which I love. They're only doing this because they're making up that they did not have a women's match main event at Revolution, which is a travesty, and I just don't understand why. But my client, the Timeless One, the reigning AEW Women's Champion, taking on the returning Skye Blue, Mina Shirakawa, and the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, AZM. If you saw New Japan Resurgence last week, Mercedes Moné lost her title, but she did not get pinned. AZM pinned Mina Shirakawa. And technically, Mercedes Moné is undefeated. She's undefeated still, and she's facing off against my latest client, Jamie Hayter. I'm watching on Disney Plus, and there's no picture. Oh, okay. So, yeah, Dylan, I can tell that makes a lot of sense, because if you're watching on Max, you don't get picture-in-picture. So it's a good thing I'm watching on TBS. But we are back live. surfing into beach break in Chicago, Illinois, in this fatal 4-way eliminator match with the ladies of AEW. So happy tonight. AZM versus the Virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Oh yeah, I think that would definitely be a good match. I would actually run it back. I would love to see AZM versus Willow Nightingale, or even Chris Statlander. I would love to see, because there's a few ladies on that roster that have never been to Japan, as far as I know. Like Chris Statlander, Julia Hart. I would like to see a few ladies go to Japan. Well, Chris Gallows, to be fair, not all the people that are participating in this match is full of Japanese wrestlers, because Skye Blue, she's from Chicago. Toni Storm, she's from New Zealand, or as our producer from the future saying, she's not Australian. We could go back and forth with all this, but we shall see. But breaking news, if you did not know, AEW will be doing a residency in Chicago at the Aragon Ballroom in July. Really good opportunity for them. They will be there at least for 2 weeks. And my client, she's just doing the hip attack. Ooh. She's got the hip attack in there. Nice kick by Skye Blue. This is the $1 million question. Who's going to take the pin? What was the last? Hold on. I was gonna. Actually, I wasn't, because I don't want us to get canceled. I was not gonna let us get canceled. Actually, I did, but Dylan, I was not gonna get WWT Live canceled. I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. Oh, pretty much. Oh, nice. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you for that. Excalibur just confirmed. Oh, well, that's good to know. At least less pressure on Toni. And I think they're probably doing this because of Double or Nothing. Because I know they have one match on the card with Jamie and Mercedes. I guess they probably want to do another women's match. I'm just curious who's taking the pin. Who's going to take the pin? That is going to be the $1 million question. Who is going to take the pin? It's so nice to see Skye Blue back. Just please don't make her lose on her first night back. Please. Oh, nice count, nice save. Storm Zero. That's be it. Nope. I thought this match was over, but that's $1 million question. Who is willing to take the pin? Oh! Oh! Mina Shirakawa is your winner. Toni looks a little startled. Well, you know what? Toni is a fighting champion. Hey. See, look, Dylan, just because you don't like my client, he's just, you know what it is? Dylan's just waiting for my client's downfall as being a champion. But as I said, she's a fighting champion. But Mina Shirakawa got the pin. I was very surprised, because I guess they did it to protect Skye Blue, to protect AZM, because she's the new New Japan Strong Women's Champion. So there's no way. But it looks like a Double or Nothing. It's a rematch from last year's Forbidden Door. Mina versus Toni Storm. That's gonna be a fun match. That's gonna be very, very fun. I can tell you those two are definitely gonna have some fun. will be fine. Ooh, I hope AZM's not too seriously hurt. Oh, and speaking of Mercedes, I knew she was going to come out for this. After she lost her belt last week, I kind of knew because she wants her belt back. I kind of knew she wants her belt back. I just had that feeling. And look who my other client, Jamie Hayter. And as she should beat the crap out of her after what Mercedes did last week. Jamie's giving Mercedes a girl medicine. Especially after what happened last week. That's what you get for getting Jamie behind. She was really going to put the haterade on her, but security showed up. Jamie was really going to do it too. Let the ladies fight, for God's sakes. You don't mess with the angry Brit. You do not mess with the angry Brit right there. Well, it's going to be a lot of physicality. And there's going to be a lot to say. Jesse, I guess. Oh, they are doing a tribute to Sabu. Yay! I'm so happy! This is hard. This is gonna be hard for Taz. But yay, they actually mentioned Sabu, which I'm very happy. Excalibur did a good job. And Taz, I know this has been very emotional for him. But I'm really happy they did it. And they should, like all wrestling promotions, should pay tribute to Sabu this week. I can tell this is very hard for Taz, especially hearing the news about him, RVD, even Paul Heyman. I know that'd be hard for him. Had to be very hard. I'm very happy they are paying respects to Sabu because he really did a lot. Yeah, his passing was shocking. It's like, yeah, exactly. Boza, it was crazy. Yeah, Boza, it's very crazy to hear that because he passed away on Mother's Day. And that was a really much shock because when the news broke, I was like, this can't be true. And then when it started pouring in and then it was confirmed, it was like, wow. But I'm really happy they did. I kind of figured they do, especially with Taz being there. They weren't going to do that. But I could tell Taz was very emotional with this, but definitely want to send love to Sabu's family, friends, and loved ones in this time of need. Also, make sure if you've been following Dark Side of the Ring, last night they did an all-new episode where they did the original Sheik, not the Iron Sheik, the original Sheik, where that was Sabu's uncle. So make sure to watch that episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I am gonna plan to watch it tomorrow. Paying tribute to Sabu and acknowledging the OTC in one. Beautiful. Yeah, I know. 2 for the price of 1. I hope Ring of Honor gets you a YouTube deal if they don't get a TV deal. Oh, that's really nice of you to say, Chris. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I know that's been in talks for a while for Ring of Honor to get a TV deal, but hey, Tony Khan, if you need a girl or you need somebody to do Ring of Honor, I'm available. So, but anyways, it has been a wonderful evening to spend with all of you on this episode of AEW Dynamite as we're surfing into beach break in the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. We do have a main event. Jon Moxley, Samoa Joe. That's been amped up, promoting for the last week or two. Also, we're gonna hear from Nigel McGuinness shortly. We're gonna hear from him after he got provoked from FTR on Collision this past weekend. We're gonna hear from him because even though he allegedly says he's retired, he can still go in the ring. And it's really funny because people are saying like, oh, well, Pat McAfee and all that stuff. Listen, the difference is Nigel is a wrestler. If you never heard of Nigel McGuinness, I highly recommend you go watch all of his matches in Ring of Honor. You go watch his match he did last year at All In, Wembley Stadium. And he also wrestled at Ring of Honor Final Battle against Lee Moriarty. And he could still go. And he's very influential because Lee Moriarty said he was inspired by Nigel McGuinness. And also, I watched Max Caster's interview with Chris Van Vliet. He said he was also inspired by Nigel McGuinness. Oh, and here's Renee Paquette, and we're going to hear from MJF and MVP. Oh, his lawyer. Mark Sterling! Mark Sterling is his lawyer! Mark Sterling! I can't believe he has Mark Sterling as a lawyer. Even MVP looks confused. There's Renee. And we're going to hear from Nigel. There's Tony Schiavone, and he's with Nigel McGuinness. And exactly, Dylan. Watch Nigel's feud with Kurt Angle and TNA. Absolute cinema. Exactly. Here comes Danny. There's Danny. Here comes Danny. Yeah, if you saw last weekend on Dynamite, apparently Dax tried to provoke Nigel McGuinness, but apparently he shoved him. You kind of knew what happened next. But the fans were going nuts for Nigel. Nigel. Oh! Well, it is true. Nigel did stand up for herself. Nigel's Spaghetti Short Second sponsored by. Oh, Dylan! Oh, I mean, who else knows better FTR than Nigel McGuinness? Oh my god, this little weasel, Stokely. But it makes sense for Stokely to be with FTR. No surprise, they're not here tonight. Did Stokely just say what I think he said, Nigel? You're not sorry, Nigel. Don't believe you. Nigel, please. And Nigel can still go. I saw him wrestle at Lee Moriarty at Ring of Honor Final Battle. This would have to be a Double or Nothing. Ooh. Oh my god. And not surprisingly, FTR came from behind. Well, thank God Tony Schiavone's out of there. I think Nigel would be very upset if something did happen to Tony Schiavone. They're really gonna put the move on him. Well, here comes Daddy Magic. Here comes Daddy Magic is broadcast colleague, and he has a crowbar in his hand. Daddy Magic. Thank God Daddy Magic showed up. Daddy Magic. Oh my goodness. It was only a matter of time Stokely was going to pull the trigger. If it's not Collision, I do think it's going to be Double or Nothing. I could see this being a Double or Nothing because they now have to do the playing field. They are true heels. I just saw Dax rip up a sign that says FTR is the best tag team and ripped it up. Yes, so this weekend on Collision for Beach Break, it will be a tribute to Steve Mongo McMichael this Saturday on Collision. Of course, we had earlier tonight Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes taking on Leo Rush and Action Andretti. We're also going to have Kyle Fletcher taking on AR Fox this weekend on Collision. We're also going to see Anna Jay taking on Megan Bayne after Harley Cameron. Well, actually, Anna Jay came out to help her friend, Harley Cameron. We're also going to have Speedball Mike Bailey taking on Blake Christian. Because Blake Christian's been showing up the last couple weeks on Collision. And as I mentioned, number one contenders match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. So Beach Break for Collision's already packed. And we're going to see, a Chicago street fight. Brian Keith and Big Bill taking on the Gates of Agony. Woo! Beach Break for Collision sounds pretty fun. But of course, we have one more match. We got our main event. AEW World Heavyweight Championship Steel Cage match. Samoa Joe taking on Jon Moxley. Yep. Chicago street fight. What do you think, Courtney? We're going to run over time. Hi, Frederick Cole. Thank you for joining on this watch along for Timeless Elite Wednesday. I do think this is going to be overrun because with this match, I expect a lot of shenanigans. I expect a lot of mayhem happening. It's going to be an all-around good match. Also, I do believe there is going to be anarchy in the arena. I think once we get the steel cage match, I think we'll have a better idea on who's going to be in anarchy in the arena. So, or if it's not anarchy in the arena, they probably name it something after Arizona or something. But I do believe there is going to be something there. If you caught WWT Live earlier, as they were wrapping up, someone gave us a program note. Kayfabe podcast will be tonight. Thank you for that, Boza. Yes, exactly, Boza. Like, if it's not anarchy, it has to be like some kind of main event idea. Yeah, because I feel like for anarchy in the arena, they probably saved it for Vegas because it's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So I think it's gonna be something in the main event. If it's not an anarchy, it'll be something. And we'll find out after this main event tonight. Programming here on WWT Live. So once I get done my watch along and my post show, make sure to check out the Kayfabe podcast happening at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight with my WWT siblings, Honey, Will, and Dion. They're going to be going. They're going to be giving you the details on what's been happening in the wrestling world. It's going to be very, very fun. I may hop in the chat for a little bit to say hello, but Feel free to check them out. The Kayfabe podcast has been really good. I actually just saw a few episodes on it. I was a guest star on it for Dynasty. So it's a really, really fun podcast. And it's just all laughing fun. And they talk all about wrestling, but they put their own spin on it. So make sure to check out the Kayfabe podcast on WWT Live. Subscribe, like, follow, whatever. It's going to be fun. Frederick Hall, I will not be attending All in Texas this year, unfortunately. But I am planning to attend the residency in Philadelphia at 2300 Arena. I'm not doing all 9 shows. That's like ridiculous. But I am planning to do the Ring of Honor show, Death Before Dishonor. I'm also checking out which Dynamite and Collision I'm going to be doing. I want to do the Dynamite and Collision after Forbidden Door because that's going to lead a lot of suspense in there. So we shall see. But next year, I definitely want to do Wembley Stadium and also Australia because they're coming back to Grand Slam. They're coming back to Australia for Grand Slam next year. So it's going to be fun, fun, fun. But ladies and gentlemen, here's the main event. Here's that steel cage coming down. I just hope it's a good match. I just hope it's a really good match execution. But I think after this match, it should get a good idea of what the main event will be for Double or Nothing. I think so. Actually, I wouldn't have a problem with Samoa Joe winning if he does tonight, but I'm very curious on how that's going to go. Because, of course, you have Hangman and Will Ospreay. Because whoever wins is going to All in Texas. There are special stipulation for this match. Escape is barred, pinfall, or submission. Ooh! I love that! I love that! Pinfall or submission. Ooh. I love that. But I do expect a lot of shenanigans and mayhem in this match. I do expect it. Hi, Ari. Thank you for joining on this watch along for AEW Dynamite. Exactly. It kind of was. But like I said, I do expect many shenanigans in this match. A lot can happen, especially with those two in the ring, and God knows what's going to happen outside of the ring. But this definitely is a good way to end Beach Break from Chicago. After this, the main event, I'm going to do a quick post show because I want to make sure I give my siblings time on the Kayfabe podcast because they'll be ready to go. And they'll be ready to go and want to give them time. So after this, I will be doing a quick post show. Nothing too crazy, but just super quick going off the matches. Here comes Jon Moxley, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion with Marina Shafir, I believe. Don't be shocked if you see Claudio or Wheeler Yuta, because we saw what Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir did this past Saturday on Collision, where they screwed Willow Nightingale in her match against Chris Statlander. They're booing him in Chicago. They're booing him. Well, actually, I do see a few cheers, but they're booing him. Samoa Joe's waiting. He's waiting. He's lurking. I just hope this is a good match. Yeah, Bosa, exactly. Like 10, 15 minutes, nothing too crazy. That's all I need. 10, 15 minutes. Nothing too crazy. But like I said, I do expect shenanigans. I do expect mayhem. outside of the ring because I'm pretty sure Marina Shafir is going to be probably sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the final match for Timeless Elite Wednesday. Samoa Joe, Jon Moxley, for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. And also, you got to remember last week on Collision from the Motor City in Detroit, the Death Riders were in conversation with the EVPs. So you know something had to give. And the only reason they did that was because of this steel cage match. So I would not be surprised if those obnoxious sleazebag EVPs get involved some way, somehow. Because, you know, if they get involved, they got to deal with Swerve Strickland. Because he is Bucks hunting for them. But we shall see on that. But here we go. It's our main event. Jon Moxley, Samoa Joe. Two men that know each other very, very well. Shot by Samoa Joe. If Mox retains the follow, it will be interesting among fans. Yeah, that is true. That's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play out, especially leading up to Double or Nothing. Do you think the recent NXT and WWE releases will come to AEW? Ironically enough, we have been talking about with the recent releases that have been happening, and even with the cuts that have been made, there has been a lot of talk because anytime people say like, "Oh, go to AEW," and I was like, "Well, first off, let's see if AEW can go with the roster that they have now and really figure out a game plan on what they want in their women's division." Because you say many times AEW is the best women's division on paper, you do, but you need to execute properly and create storylines outside of the title picture. That is the thing, and also, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Shayna because she could reunite with her friend Marina Shafir. That could be also a good muscle to it. Gigi, it's a possibility. I think she does have a good relationship with her ex-husband Darby Allin because they think she said recently they're on good terms and friends. Shotzi possibly, but I mean, sky is the limit for them. Sky is the limit for them. Anything is possible. So wish them the best of luck and know they will find success anywhere they find. But going back to the main event, Jon Moxley, target the hamstring of Samoa Joe. Nice counter by Jon Moxley. And even though the match isn't picture-in-picture, the match is still going on live, and it looks like Jon Moxley's been getting the upper hand on Samoa Joe. I crack up with that Kevin Hart commercial when they do the NBA theme song. I always crack up on that. Obviously, because it is NFL playoffs. That's just really funny. Oh! I just realized this. Willow Nightingale has come out to even the odds, and she brought a steel chair with her because after what happened on Collision this past weekend, I don't blame her. She has a chair, and she's evening the odds. Of course, we have that little run. Ooh, Moxley, he's bled. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm used to seeing Jon Moxley getting bloodied anyway. But there's Willow Nightingale, and of course, you see Claudio and Wheeler, that little runt Wheeler Yuta. And we also, of course, see Powerhouse Hobbs and Willow on the other side. Because if you did not follow it up, the Death Riders took out their teammates Hook and Katsuyori Shibata. So it's just Powerhouse Hobbs. And it's always good to have somebody like Powerhouse Hobbs in your corner. Because he's a muscle. He can handle it. I'm really happy Willow brought a steel chair because after what happened on Collision, actually forget about Marina. I would probably give a powerbomb to Wheeler Yuta if I had to. But we are back live. We are back live with the main event. Of course, corner you have Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, that annoying little run. And I'm not going to forgive him for what he did at Full Gear. He's robbed my client Orange Cassidy of being champion. That little runt. And also Marina Shafir. And on the other side, you have Willow Nightingale and Powerhouse Hobbs. Both, it's a possibility. That's a good question. I could probably see that happening at Double or Nothing. But I do think Marina Shafir and Willow are going to have a one-on-one match. And if they do, it has to be at All in Texas. Because depending what happens with the AEW women's title, because Toni's facing off against Mina, That's going to be a rematch from last year at Forbidden Door. That's going to be a good match. Depending on what happens with the AEW women's title picture, I wouldn't mind seeing a few more women's matches on the card for All in Texas. So, oh man, John Moxley's busted. Oh, well, I mean, I'm not surprised by it. I mean, John's always busted open. I will never forget the time where he faced off against Powerhouse Hobbs, and he bit off his ear, and he had blood coming out of his ear. That was crazy. And so here comes Samoa Joe. Oh yeah, there is blood in the ring. And the referee had to see. I'm happy they did save some of the bloody and gory stuff till the end. Because who wants to clean that up right before their match? Oh. Samoa Joe, he's putting him in. Moxley ain't gonna tap. He's got his hand on the ropes. He's biting. Is he biting his nose? I'm not surprised with Moxley. I wonder how Renee is in the back, seeing her husband bloodied. These two behemoths just want to go at it with each other. Ooh, nice counter by Moxley. Oh, Moxley's putting a submission. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe unresponsive? Oh, Samoa Joe, he's not out yet. He is not out yet. He's not out. Kick out by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe ain't giving up. Who does Moxley think he is? He's doing it like King Kong or King of the Jungle. Oh, he got the submission hold. Joe's got the submission hold. He's got the submission, and Marina is giving orders. Claudio. Whoa! Oh my god! I really thought she was gonna kill Claudio. Oh my god! Get that little run out of here! Get him, Hobbs! Oh my god! He hit him to a table. You don't mess with Powerhouse Hobbs, man. You do not run from that man. Is that Gabe? I mean, whether the match is Moxley, but is that Gabe? That has to be Gabe. Yep. It looks like Gabe. Yep, it was Gabe Kidd. I knew that was Gabe. And here comes Powerhouse Hobbs. Yep, that was Gabe Kidd. And Claudio hit. Why would you hit Powerhouse Hobbs with a chair? Why? Oh, and a low blow to Gabe. Boza, I hope not, because this is going to be interesting at Double or Nothing with the men's, because between Hangman and Will Ospreay, I mean, what's going to happen there? I mean, I would love to see Will Ospreay. And they took out poor Willow. My lady. I wish Chris Statlander was there for this. But it's going to be interesting. And also, if you saw on socials, Gabe actually had a beef with Mark Briscoe. He had a beef with Mark Briscoe. And it's not surprisingly, we see those obnoxious EVPs. But that's what I'm saying. Gabe does have an issue with Mark Briscoe. Then also with Eddie Kingston, because Eddie Kingston's supposed to be back very soon, because he also has unfinished business with Gabe, because when he had a title match last year, he suffered a serious injury, unfortunately. So you knew it had to be Gabe. Well, I hope it's not till Darby, because it's like, where are you gonna put the winner of the men's Owen Hart? It's either Hangman or Will Ospreay, and I thought at least Will Ospreay would be the guy to do it. Because if you don't have Darby, you gotta have Will Ospreay. Oh, and there's Kenny. And we haven't seen Kenny in weeks, but there's Kenny Omega. But Kenny's not coming alone. I don't think Kenny's coming alone. I do not think he's coming alone. But the fans, oh my God, the fans are so loud for Kenny Omega, the reigning AEW International Champion. But he has to watch out, because there's Okada. And I'm sure Okada and Kenny are going to meet with each other. But there's just one person that the Young Bucks missed. There's one person left, and that is Swerve Strickland. Because I'm sure Swerve is sneaking somewhere, because he says he's on Bucks hunting season. I'm pretty sure Swerve is. So, oh my God, they're really lowering the cage. They are lowering the cage. So I'm pretty sure Swerve is somewhere nearby. No, Boza, I don't think it's the reign that's ever end, because as I said, oh, there's Speedball Mike Bailey taking out Okada. There's just one person missing, and that's Swerve. And also, as I said, Boza, I think his reign's gonna end all in Texas. I would love for Will Ospreay to be the guy to do it. If you can't wait for Darby, get Will Ospreay to do it. I mean, he wants to be the guy to do it. Poor Kenny. But yeah, there's one man missing, and that is Swerve. And it's ironically enough, I said this a couple months ago when this first started, I would not be shocked if the Elite and the Death Riders were working hand in hand. But yeah, we haven't seen Swerve. Choking out Kenny Omega, who's another. Well, thankfully, Speedball Mike Bailey came out and took out Okada. It's nice to see him. And I was just talking about Swerve. All this ringing around the rosy, I know. But yep, here comes Swerve. I was like, I know Swerve is there. I wish Nana had a pipe in his hand, because you don't want to mess with Prince Nana. He's climbing up the cage. He's climbing up the cage. He's giving a house call to everybody. He wants a cage. See? Swerve warned you he's going Bucks hunting, and he's the last man you want to mess with. He's the last man. It's just funny how the minute Swerve comes in, everybody's deserted. He's deserted. Oh, Swerve. He didn't want to against Hangman. That is true. I knew it. I knew Anarchy with the Arena was going to happen. It was just a matter of timing. But I'm very curious who else they're going to have. Well, ladies and gentlemen, woo! There is a lot of mayhem. Woo! Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But woo! Oh my god! According to knew it, I'm assuming it's where Omega has to be. Also, it's gonna be interesting with Gabe Kidd coming in because, as I mentioned, he picked a fight with Mark Briscoe in some of the socials that happened a month or two ago. Because I can see him and Mark Briscoe going at it. And Eddie Kingston's supposed to come back soon. But yeah, Anarchy in the Arena. That is crazy. But we're just gonna do the post show. I'm gonna do a quick post show because I know some of my siblings are gonna be doing kayfabe podcast shortly, so I want to make sure. Yeah, most exactly. I think we had a good idea for Double or Nothing. I don't want to go too crazy with the results, so I am just gonna skim through the results for AEW Dynamite tonight. I'm just gonna skim through it. Yeah, it was pretty much straightforward to the point, but just going over some of the matches that happened, we kicked off with Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page taking on Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. Definitely a way to kick off the show, and your winners was Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page. Of course, we did see a little glimpse of them not being on the same page and thought they were going to go at it. But after this match, we shall see what happens. Of course, it's definitely going to be an awesome match between Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay, and we'll find out who is the winner. That'll be going into All in Texas. I know people want Darby Allin to do it, but I would love to see Will Ospreay do it. I mean, it's waiting. And we got to hear from Top Flight after hearing what happened with MJF last week. They wanted to step up to the plate and want to make the challenge to face off against Hurt Syndicate, which they did. And they got approached by Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, the reigning Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. So later on in the night, we got to see the Hurt Syndicate take on Top Flight. Definitely an effort between Darius and Dante, but the Hurt Syndicate won. And we got to see a promo between Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. And it looks like they want to be double champions. But Leo Rush and Action Andretti came out. Leo Rush had the nerve to call Dustin Rhodes Gramps. What is wrong with you, sir? That's freaking Dustin Rhodes. He is no grandpa. He could still go. And I love it when he goes unfiltered. But anyways, this Saturday on Collision, it will determine the number one contenders for the AEW Tag Team titles. Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes taking on Leo Rush and Action Andretti. We also got to hear from them with MJF, and all three members of the Hurt Syndicate gave a thumbs up. But it's going to be interesting next week to see how that's going to go, because we saw MJF talk to his lawyer, Mark Sterling. I don't know what's that about, but it's going to be very interesting to see. And MVP did look a little puzzled, but we shall see on there. We shall see on there on that. Also, ladies and gentlemen, WWT Live, if you've not seen a ghost, Ricochet taking on Zach Gowen one-on-one. Oh my god. It, like I said, it was fun to see Zach Gowen back in the ring. Of course, Ricochet had to play with his prosthetic leg, but Zach could go. Even with one leg, that man could still wrestle. And he looks like he didn't miss a beat. I was very happy to see Zach back in the ring. It was definitely a good match. Crowd was getting behind Zach, but the winner of the match was Ricochet. Ricochet tried to put the beat down on Zach Gowen, but Mark Briscoe finally came out and ran Ricochet off. I was very happy to see that. Let's see. Of course, we had the ladies come in. I was happy to see the ladies. My client, the reigning AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm, taking on the New Japan Strong Women's Champion AZM, Skye Blue, and Mina Shirakawa. Skye Blue's first match back after her injury in her hometown of Chicago. So happy to see her. This was definitely a fun match between those ladies. And it was on earlier in the 9 o'clock hour, not at 9:30, which was a little bit impressive. But fun match overall. Winner of that match is Mina Shirakawa. They will be meeting at Double or Nothing, a rematch from last year's Forbidden Door. Last year, those two ladies went at it, so they know each other very well. I do expect a lot of fun, charisma, physicality between these two ladies. I'm up for it. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, AZM is the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. She took that from Mercedes Moné, so of course Mercedes attacked her. But Jamie Hayter had a sneak attack. My other client had a sneak attack against her. And I was very happy Jamie could have took charge, but she should have kicked. My client Jamie Hayter should have kicked one of the security guards and just sucker punched Mercedes Moné. How dare they reinstate Little Miss CEO? Jamie Hayter could take a punch. But we shall see. But anyways, we did see the ring. We did see, and I was happy they did put a tribute into Sabu. Taz did get a little bit emotional talk about Sabu, as he should, and definitely want to send our condolences. And happy everybody in the wrestling world was able to pay their respects to Sabu. But we got to see Tony Schiavone in the ring with Nigel McGuinness. Nigel called out Daniel Garcia to apologize for what he did at Collision this past weekend regarding FTR. But Daniel Garcia still wants to fight FTR with or without him. And it brings out that little weasel, Stokely Hathaway, who tries to run down both of them and try to say FTR isn't here tonight and speaking on their behalf. And tried to say, like, what Nigel did last week was reprehensible. And originally, McGuinness wasn't interested and said FTR is going to kill him. And I'm like, Nigel McGuinness can still wrestle. Nigel McGuinness can still wrestle, sir. And I know they try to put down as Nigel being this announcer. But the difference is between Pat McAfee and Nigel McGuinness can wrestle. Don't let him fool you. Yes, he tried to say he's retired, but that man can still wrestle. Go watch his matches from Ring of Honor. As Dylan mentioned, go watch his rivalry with Kurt Angle in TNA. Go watch his recent match against Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam last year. Heck, go watch his match that he had last year at Ring of Honor Final Battle against Lee Moriarty. And the interesting part about it is he is still influential to this day. Lee Moriarty talked about many times that one of his biggest influences in wrestling was Nigel McGuinness. And it was such an honor for him. As I mentioned earlier, Max Caster mentioned in his interview against Chris Van Vliet, Nigel McGuinness is one of the main reasons he wanted to wrestle. And that's Max's words. He said it. Nigel McGuinness is one of the main reasons he wants to wrestle, and that's one of his heroes. Exactly, Boza. Or when he made everybody shit their pants and do the first Casino Gauntlet match. Exactly. Like, Nigel can still go. I mean, hey, him, Daniel Garcia, and you know what's funny? He thinks that he can't handle FTR. Nigel, you can handle FTR. You probably wrestled them in your days at Ring of Honor. Probably not as a tag team, but maybe one of them one-on-one. I don't want to hear that. But it's going to be possibly leading to Daniel Garcia and Nigel taking on FTR. I could see this probably happening at Double or Nothing. Yeah, he wants to be worried, but that should be the other way around. But yeah, I think it looks like it's going to be Nigel and Danny taking on FTR, probably at Double or Nothing. And we can see the return of Adam Copeland at Double or Nothing. It's a possibility he may return. Perfect opportunity to do that. It would actually no. Well, that too. It would be kind of funny to see Stokely versus Nigel, and plus maybe you could give Tony Schiavone a shot or two. Like he should slap or punch Stokely in the face, which I would love to see. But we'll see that story playing out. And now the main event: Jon Moxley, Samoa Joe, the AEW World Championship match at Double or Nothing. It was actually a good, solid match. I mean, obviously Willow and Powerhouse Hobbs came out to support Joe because, as I mentioned, the Death Riders took out two of his teammates, Kazuchika Shibata and Hook. And then on the other side, you had Claudio Castagnoli, that little runt, Wheeler Yuta, and Marina Shafir. We all thought Samoa Joe was the first challenger to use a steel cage. Yep, exactly. You'd have thought at least Samoa Joe would have got the win because it looked like Moxley was going to tap out, but smelled shenanigans from those pesky EVPs. And guess who came out? Gabe Kidd. If you know who he is, he's from New Japan. Yeah, he came out and he helped out Moxley. And we did see the EVPs try to do some damage on that and tried to take out not just Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe, Hobbs, and Willow. But we saw Kenny Omega coming out. We saw Kenny Omega try to help out even the odds. But of course, he had to deal with Okada. And then we did see Speedball Mike Bailey come out to take out Okada to the back. And we saw none other than Swerve Strickland coming out. Oh my goodness. Yes, Boza, it is true. We have a few matches down for Double or Nothing, but Swerve came out, was on the mic, and we have an Anarchy in the arena match. Who are the participants? Well, we know the Death Riders. Well, we have to figure out this how it's going to work. It's going to be probably the Death Riders. Maybe if you throw in the Young Bucks and Marina. And then on the other side, it's going to be very curious because you have Willow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Samoa Joe, Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland, that could be fine. But I would not be shocked if there's a lot of surprises. But I know everybody was kind of expecting for Darby to get the title, but also you can't forget about the Owen Hart men's tournament, because the winner of that match goes into All In Texas. And I expect for Moxley to drop the belt at All In Texas. I thought it was going to be at least Will Ospreay being the guy to do it, because he said it many times. He wants to be the guy. I know they're trying to make Hangman display him as being the guy in AEW and also take down the Death Riders. Yeah, Bosa, because people are like talking about Darby Allin. I'm like, you cannot forget about the Owen Hart men's tournament, because yeah, it's Darby, but also really think about it, because I would be okay if Will Ospreay was the one to do it. Like, if you can't get Darby to do it, like, get Will Ospreay to do it. And as I mentioned, they want Hangman Adam Page to be the guy to stop the Death Riders, because they tried to do it earlier on, and that's what Christopher Daniels was trying to get him to do. But we shall see on that. We do have an action-packed Collision happening this weekend. Some matches announced. We are going to pay tribute to Steve Mongo McMichael this Saturday on Collision Beach Break. We're going to have Megan Bayne taking on Anna Jay. As I mentioned, we're going to have Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara taking on Leo Rush and Action Andretti. Winner that match faces off against the tag team champions, the Hurt Syndicate, at Double or Nothing. We're also going to have Kyle Fletcher taking on AR Fox, and a Chicago street fight between Big Bill and Brian Keith taking on the Gates of Agony. And Speedball Mike Bailey will be in action this weekend as well. So lots of action, lots of mayhem happening and Collision this weekend. Thank you, everybody, for joining on this watch along for Timeless Elite Wednesday. And I actually am going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. It did what it could. And we have one more final Dynamite before next week, before we go into Arizona. But thank you all for joining. Special shout out. And also breaking news, by the way, thanks to Boza, Willow Nightingale has resigned her contract with AEW. So I'm so happy that she is staying. She is an AEW original, and I do see her as being the front of that women's division. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you to Boza, Amani Sun, Aaron Teagle, Bobby Patino, our producer from the future, Dylan, popped in. And thank you to all of you for joining on this watch along. Feel free. I will be chirping periodically on WWT Live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Make sure to follow on my socials on @CourtneyNJ11 to check out content I have from 90s Wrestling Con, which will be posted later in the week. Also, check out the latest interview we got where Boss Lady interviews Saraya. You don't want to miss that. But thank you all for joining on this edition of Timeless Elite Wednesday and supporting Women's Wrestling Talk, because we would not be here with all of you. And I'm going to wish everybody a good night. And thank you for joining again on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. And I don't care what the mayor has to say. Leave Tanahashi alone, because your little Missy is facing off against my client, Jamie Hager. So, yeah. Have a great evening, and I will see you next week.